Hey guys, welcome back to Karate Framework tutorial session 4. In today's session you can learn how user can create a new GET request in the Karate framework for a dummy REST API page, and after creating multiple GET requests in the framework, how user can run multiple features file with the help of runner class, and in case same scenario need to be repeated with different variety of the data, so how data driven testing using Karate framework is possible, and what is the importance of scenario outline and example in Karate framework. So in case you want to create one more features file, right, for get request, so what you need to do, you need to go to the Eclipse and this project, and here this particular package already created, src test java, src test java folder, and this is the package created, features as runner. What I will do, I will create a new kind of features file. Instead of creating, what I can do, I can copy the existing features file, get request to, I can copy it and simply paste it in the package. So it will giving you some option to rename the features file. So I can make it like get request 3 features. And in the previous 2 features file, in the first get request dot features file, I have tried to write retrieve the details from the regress.in API page, user details. So this is the page where in case you are hitting it, you are trying to get the details, so you will be getting it. And in the second request, what we did, we have tried to get the information for the current weather report. Okay, so this is the URL. So what we did, we have went to the report weather report page. We have created our own credentials. We have created our own token. After that, right, we have gone the sample API and replaced the with the token ID, and then we have able to retrieve the details. And now today we are trying to create one more GET request for that REST API example.com API page. Well, this is the URL. If I hit it, right, it is giving some result, right? Success data, employee details. So that is the part, right? I want to, right, create my API request. So this is the get request 3 dot features file created. So fetching, instead of open weather details, I want to fetch employee details, right? So I can change the features name as fetching employee details. Okay, and scenario name I can change to test the correctness of the get request while fetching data from the dummy REST API page. Okay, and here I need to change the URL, right? That is the URL I need to change it. So remaining thing will be still there. I want to get the response and this will be get method, and definitely as it is giving me the result, so response will status will be always 200. Also I want to print the response. So this is the 3 features file created. Now for the first features file, again I can also print the response here also in the first features file also. So I will be just hitting the URL, right? I want to get the details, so definitely it will be success only 200, as we are trying to retrieve within the get command. And second request, right, features file, we are trying to open the current weather report, right, from the open weather map page. And third one, I want to retrieve the like employee details, which is employee 1 from the REST API example.com page, and I want to print the response. So that is the way I have created 3 features file. Now if you go into the runner class, so you can run as JUnit test. So it will try to execute the 3 test cases. So you could see 3 test cases got executed. There is no failure at all, and report also generated here. Now if you go here and try to open it, right, the report, so you will able to get the desired report. So 3 scenario got executed, and I think for every scenario it will be 4 step, right? You could see this is the page hit, right, to get and status, and if you print the response, so that is the thing is getting executed. Okay, for the ID 5, right? If you hit here also, you could able to see the same ID 5 email charles dot morris dot, right, requestraise.com. So that is the way. And second part, if you need to go to the here, after you open any scenario, it will show you the scenario, right, how many scenario passed and failed. If you go to the summary, right, it will be giving you how many features got executed. So from the karate lab, right, 3 features got executed, there is no failure, 3 passed. And if you go to the second features, which is nothing but the like weather map page, and you can right print the X response, so you'll be getting it. Now you can go to the summary page. Here again, if you go to that request 3, which is nothing but the dummy REST API, dummy REST API example page, you are able to get the details. So here if you can validate it, that is a success. ID equal to 1, employee name equal to Tiger Nixon. So you could see employee name Tiger Nixon, ID equal to like that. Now next question will come. Right here we are doing the same thing again and again and again, but our only URL is different, right? So here what we are creating multiple package, multiple features file, and then so many kind of step, right? But here only we are changing the URL, remaining step is still common, and definitely you could change the feature and you could change the scenario. But here from the step given when and then whatever 4 step is there, only one value I am changing in the given, right? The remaining thing is still same for all the 3 scenario. So what I can do, right, how I can do the data driven part. So where I want right data I am changing, so that is the way, right, I can do the data driven testing, where this part I can have n number of data, right? So same scenario will be executed repeatedly again and again and again, and with the variety of the data. So to that we have to use the scenario outline and examples to do the data driven testing. So sometimes user want to run the same scenario multiple times with different sets of data. This is the benefit of automation testing when compared to manual testing. In case you want to do manually, so same all the step you need to repeat it manually. But here it will be driven by the automation testing and it will take very minimal time. So it would be boring and tedious for a manual tester to repeat the same scenario multiple times. But in case automation, right, it will be executed in couple of seconds time. So scenario includes all possible circumstances of the features and test script for these circumstances. The keyword scenario represents a scenario in karate. One feature can have multiple scenario and each scenario consists of one or more steps. So scenario outline keyword can be used to repeat the same step with different values or argument being passed to the step definition. This is helpful if user want to test multiple argument in the same scenario. When to use scenario outline, user want their scenario outline to describe behavior or example that are important to the business, not detail every boundary or test case. Adding too many rows simply creates more work and obscure where the values is to be values to the business, right? In case you are repeating like 5 lines 4 line every time for the same scenario where the URL only is changing, right? And in case you want to change the other thing, right, sometime, so again you need to go the all the possible scenario and you need to change everywhere. But in case I am just trying to kind of repeat same thing using data driven approach, so instead of scenario I will be using scenario outline and I will be using examples where I will be I will be changing my different variety of the data. So that is the way it will be very beneficial for data driven testing using karate automation tool with the help of scenario outline instead of scenario and the example. So all scenario outline and followed by example part that contains the set of data that has to be passed during the execution of test. Pipe symbol is used to specify one or more parameter values in the features file. In a single execution, scenario is executed only once, whereas scenario outline for similar data trace can be executed multiple times depending upon the data provided as the example. Now let's try to create one more features file. So whatever 3 features file we have created, all the features I want to execute from the single features file. So right click, or I can copy it, right, copy the features 3 and I can paste it here. And I can give some name called get request scenario outline dot feature. Okay. Now what I will do, I will open that one So here, right, fetchings instead of scenario name I can mention fetching details. Okay, and scenario I can change. Instead of scenario I need to do called scenario outline, so that same scenario will be executed with different variety of the data to test correctness of the get request for different web page. That is the scenario outline I can mention for different web page. Okay, so here we already have the same scenario, and URL I want to vary, so I need to use examples. Okay, and here whatever URL I am using, that part, right, I can cut for now, I can paste it here, and here I will be using the data driven approach. So what I can do, right, within that part you need to give that sign, and you need to mention the variable name test URL, right. I can mention the variable name and I'll be enclosing with that. So that is the thing you need to do here as a first part. So remaining step will be executed for multiple number of times. So okay, so where, and then in the examples I need to use pipe symbol, right, that is the pipe symbol, and that will be my header. Okay, that will be my header. So again end with pipe symbol, and then so examples, right, and scenario outline, and that will be first row will be your header, and second row onward it will be your data, variety of the data you want to repeat the execution. So that is my first URL I want to execute. Similar way I want to execute for the other URL. Okay, 3 scenario I'll be executing. So this is my first scenario, right, and get request, this is my another scenario, so I can copy it here and I can paste it here. So this will be my second scenario within the pipe symbol, start with pipe symbol, end with pipe symbol, and this is my second URL, right, or third URL I can make it third URL. So that URL also I copy it and I will paste it here. That is the way, in case you are having instead of 3 URL, in case you are having 10 URL, you can also do that, right. Here instead of user 4 you can also make it user 4, right. So that is the way I can have 4 URL. So I need to change, what I need to change, feature definitely it will be there, scenario it will be there, but instead of scenario I need to use scenario outline. So the same scenario will try to execute different variety of the data, that is called data driven testing. Here you can have multiple variable as well in the multiple step. So you need to have multiple column. Suppose instead of request also you want to write, instead of hard coding get, it might be get, post, all this stuff it can happen. So you can also give that sign, right, and then you can make it some variable, right, request, and then here you can create a column here. So this is called column, right, this is called first, right, column, or the first row will be treated as a column and second row onward it will be data. So in case you are having 3 fields, so it will be like separated by 4 pipe total, because one data will be surrounding by 2 pipe. So that is the way you can have this 4 scenario executed from the same scenario with the 4 different variety of the data. Now, so this is a way you can have the data driven testing. So now go to the runner class. So what will happen? Get request is having 1 test case, get request 2 having 1 test case, get request 3 having 1 test case, but get request scenario outline not feature is having 4 test cases. So only one scenario, sorry, 4 scenario, only one scenario, but it is repeating with 4 different variety of the data. So one features will be treated as 4 scenario. Now let's save it and let's go to the runner class. So 4 feature now, but it will be 7 scenario. Let's try to execute it. Yeah, one is getting error, that is fine. That the that the URL sometime, because this is a public URL, right, so sometime, right, in case you are hitting it more time, right, it might not give success, it can give that error like 428 too many requests. So that is fine, that not be a problem, but remaining 6 test cases got executed and 1 test case failed because of the reason. You can copy it and you can open notepad, right, and you can get, right, what is the failure, you could see, right, too many requests. So it is not matching with 200, it is coming as 429. Even if you manually try to open it, you could see the 429 is coming. So that is fine. Maybe for now, what I can do, I can go here, okay, and I can go to the pictures file. I can just simply remove that row. So it will be having now 3 different data. Maybe I can have one more thing, right, called 3 5 4 3. Now again, like 4 pictures file and having 7 scenario. Now you can again run it as JUnit test. So all the scenario will be executed and passed, because that particular URL sometime, right, because of its public in nature. So in case sometime you are hitting and too many requests, it might not able to retrieve the data and it might fail. You could see now total 7 by 4. So 7 is number of scenario and 4 is the number of features. If you expand it, you could see these are the 4 feature: get request 2, get request 3, and the get request scenario outline. Now if you go to the path, I think that part is already open. If you go here and if you refresh it, okay, not that one, karate report, okay, not a problem. You can go here and you can just simply copy that path, karate summary report, and you can paste it here. You could see now 4 feature got executed and all are passed. You can expand one by one, right? So one scenario. And now if you go to the last one, you could able to see this is 4 scenario under the second feature, right? This is the 5 URL, okay, reg regress 5, user 5, user 4, user 3, and the last one is the weather, open weather map. So that is the way. Instead of scenario, you can use scenario outline example, right, and where you can do the data driven testing. Means same test cases might be executed with the different variety of the data, whatever way you want to execute it. So that is your, right, that is your data which you want to vary with different combination. So that is the way. Now let's create one more scenario outline. So what I will be doing, I'll copying it, I will paste it here, and I can give the name as get request scenario outline 2.feature. So let's open it again now, and here let's fetching maybe user details. I can change the name called fetching user details here to test correctness of the for user details page, or maybe user page. Okay, now what we'll do, you already seen here, this is the URL I want to vary, right? So I want to vary, but here only the number is getting changed. Okay, so what I will do, I will copy it and I will paste it in the URL part. Okay, now here I want to only vary that number which is the ID 1 2 3 4 5 like that. Okay, so my URL, complete URL, I am not varying. Instead of that, this is my dynamic part, sorry, this is my static part, is constant, and I want to vary that dynamic part. So what I will do, I will just vary with the help of the ID variable. Okay, so that part I want to do the data driven testing. So here I can again change it to ID, and now I can change it to 1 2 3 4 5 like that. I will change it. Okay, so maybe, okay, so now you could see how easily I can do it. 1 2 3 4 and 5. So what will happen, right, it will try to execute this scenario 5 times, because this is my 5 different variation and ID is the variable name. So this URL, that part will be static, sorry, will be always constant, and here ID will be changed 1 2 3 4 5 like that. So that is the way, right? You can also, in case your some of the part is dynamic in nature, that part you can only vary it. So how easily, right? Instead of giving all the path again and again and again, I only change the value part, dynamic value. Okay, now just save the code. So here one scenario is having, one feature is having 5 scenario. So now we are having total 5 features file. So first features file 1 scenario, second feature file 1 scenario, third feature file 1 scenario, and first scenario outline features file 4 scenario. So total 7 scenario, and the second scenario outline features file is having 5 scenario. So total 12 scenario, 5 features file and total 12 scenario. Now if you go to the test runner class again, and if you right click here, okay, or what you can do, you can go to the pom.xml, and you can run it from here as well also, map and test. So you could understand how many things is getting executed without character report as well. Okay, you could see all the details, right? Total test run 12 means total 12 scenario got executed. Okay, so you are getting the result. Now if you go to that again path here, character report.html, if you refresh it, you could able to see 5 features got executed. For the first features file, get request only one scenario. Go to the summary for the second features file, right? Only one scenario got passed also, 4 step, right? For the third, get request 3 also one features file, right? One features file, one scenario mapping, and then scenario outline, right? One, it will be having containing 4 scenario. If you open it, you could see 4 scenario. This is the 4 scenario in the left pan, and here you would be able to get, right? This is the first URL, this is the second URL, this is the third URL, and this is the weather, right? Open weather map URL. Now go back again. So for the last one, where I am only varying the ID part, my URL is common. You could see now it is showing us 5 scenario. You could see that ID is getting changed only. Remaining your URL is still constant. So that is the way, right? You can do the data-driven testing. And if you get the response, right? Click on the response. So for the ID 5, username 5, it is coming Charles More, right? And if for the username 4, it is coming AV Halt. Username 3, response is coming as Emma Ong, right? And for the user 2, it is coming as Janet Weaver. For the user 1, it is coming as George Blue. So same URL, only the dynamic part is your number or the employee ID. So that how easily, right, you can do the data-driven testing instead of writing so many line of code again and again and again. Instead of that same scenario, I want to repeat it with only varying that numeric part. So that is the way you can do it. And sometime in case I want to vary my right complete URL or maybe multiples variable as well. So you can just similar way you can have the multiple variables, and then you can at the first row you can have the multiples heading, right, for the different multiple variable, and second row onward you can place the data, right, for the different variable. So that is the way, right, you can do the data-driven testing with the help of scenario outline. And as and when you will be using scenario outline, so you need to mention something as a variable, right, within that sign, and that particular variable you need to make give the value, right. You can have n number of iteration, but that should be in the examples section. Okay, so that's all from today's session, guys. Thank you.